Welcome back to Aikidoflow. Now, without a doubt, okay, probably the most emails that I have personally got was recommendations on Aikido schools, what to look for. And so, this is just like a really, really good video, really, for us to just really tackle this, because I mean, obviously, you're looking for advice about schools. I mean, obviously, the first thing, obviously, would be to come to our training system, our dojo, use our online training, train with Azu, personally one-to-one, okay? Of course, that would be what we would recommend because obviously we've done this for a very, very long time and we know what we're doing. But we understand that obviously some of you can't reach us, okay? And you might not want to do the online training, which is fair enough. So really that comes down to really what are the top 5 things would you say that you would be looking for if you were starting again?
Well, you said about emails, the most emails I receive people asking is, am I single? But people also
Nobody
ask
cares
me
whether or not I'm single. Yeah.
about dojos and where's a good place to train.
Yeah.
Now, when I've been to different Aikido dojos just to go there and train and stuff. And one of the first things I look out for is it a welcoming atmosphere?
Yeah, welcoming. Yeah.
Are people going to welcome you? Are people going to, when there's always a point where the instructor shows a technique and then everybody kind of gets up and practice that technique.
Yeah.
Are people seeing that you're a beginner and coming to you and saying, or are they just kind of consistently training with the people that they know?
Yeah.
They don't want to move around. We always tend to kind of train with someone, then you swap partners, train with somebody else. And it was always a nice feeling when somebody would go out of their way to come to you, knowing that, you're a beginner,
so
and
is
want
it
to train with you.
So is it supportive then?
Yes.
Is it like a supportive environment?
Yes. They're not just there for themselves. You get the feeling they're there to help everybody to progress.
I think the question that you need to ask yourself, even before you start looking for a dojo, is what you're looking for. And I think that you need to be really honest and clear about that in terms of what you want from the dojo. If we're specifically talking about Aikido, there is a broad spectrum of Aikido, okay? And I mean, we've discussed this before. There are the sharp combat ends of Aikido, like us, okay? But there are also forms of Aikido that purely have to do with kind of, more of a yoga type of health kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you're looking for that, well then fine. That's not a problem. But I think that you do need to be relatively honest with yourself. You need to be kind of ask yourself what you want, because then you can kind of focus in. And to be honest with you, sometimes you don't even have to go to the dojo. You'll be able to see whether or not that is what you should be even considering.
Yeah. Another point is, I remember when I first started training, I walked into a dojo and there was a guy, really short guy, didn't speak to anybody, was really quiet, and he would train with people who weren't that experienced and he would end up hurting them. It's almost like he was using them as his crash test dummies, which really put me off that dojo. But it was the first dojo I trained with, and I think I stayed there for a couple of years, but it was never a nice feeling going there. And I'd walk into that dojo, and when he wasn't there, it was almost like, oh, it's a relief. So it's important that everybody in that dojo has the same mentality. Not if there's one person that is on a different frame of mind for everybody else, that can just upset the whole experience.
Yeah.
So look out for people who aren't there for the same reasons as everybody else as well. Don't forget, we have an online masterclass where you'll learn all the Aikidoflow techniques, the way we learnt them, the way we teach them. All the links are in the description below. You can learn the traditional way and the street way of doing stuff. We also have our own YouTube channels. I've got mine, as is POV. Jason's got his channel. And we also sell merchandise. So have a look in the links below and get your t-shirt and your hoodies, help support the channel.
Okay, in conclusion, I think if I was going to conclude this in any way, I would say take your time. Take your time, have a look at a good amount of dojos within the area. Make sure that they are, you can travel to them. Don't join a dojo that is like miles away and like, yes, it's really good, but it's miles away and it's difficult to get to. That's a recipe for disaster, you know. I think have a look, okay, and just take your time. Take your time.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, I feel like when it comes to, well, the majority of us are in jobs that we wouldn't necessarily choose to be in. We do it to pay our wages, but a dojo isn't like that. It has to be something which you enjoy doing. You have a choice. Some of us in our jobs, we don't really have a choice. You work here, you got to earn your money, pay your bills. But when it comes to a dojo, you do have a choice, and you should choose something that makes you happy, something that you enjoy, something that you look forward to going to, not something you feel like, oh, you know, I don't want to go, but I have to because I really do want to keep up this training. I made a New Year's resolution, or for whatever reason. You want to just enjoy going there. And that's how it should be. I've always enjoyed training at our dojo. Certain dojos I've enjoyed training in, but not all dojos. And I just stopped going there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And last thing, something that I forgot to say earlier on, we don't have any affiliated dojos with us, okay? Our dojo is one dojo and it's run by Azu. That's it. There's nothing else affiliated around the world. We just simply have one dojo. Azu runs it, and we have our online training, and obviously Azu does his one-to-one training. So if anybody around the world says they're affiliated to us, they're not. Anyway, I hope that helps, and we'll see you on the next Aikidoflow video.
Respect.
Yo.